This is Rock and Roll English. Real people, real English. Here's your host, Martin Johnston.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rock and Roll English, where I am here for episode 3 of the new vocabulary course that I have made, which is called the No Study British English Vocabulary Masterclass. Remember, if you haven't listened to the previous 2 podcasts, please go and do that, because otherwise this podcast will make absolutely no sense. And remember, this course, which costs £197, will be totally free in my Black Friday offer. Speaking of that, I've realised I got the dates totally mixed up. So apologies for that, but it will be on general sale next Thursday. And if you join the waiting list, you will be able to buy this offer on Tuesday next week. Remember, only 50 places will be available, so join the waiting list so you can buy it before it goes on general sale. I'm going to stop talking. I don't want this episode to be too long because I want you to get into the nitty-gritty, the details of my crazy R&R story, which you will hear very shortly. I actually really enjoyed writing this story. It makes no sense, but it's a very rock and roll English style story. So I hope you enjoy it. I will talk to you all at the end. Happy listening. So here we are for episode 3 of the No Study British English Vocabulary Masterclass. Now, considering this is the first episode 3, I'm just going to quickly explain how it works. So going forward for the next 51 weeks, because remember this lasts for 1 year, you will know how it works. So here is how it works. I'm going to quickly remind you of the terms without a definition this time, because hopefully now you have heard the definition a few times and heard the terms in context. It's just for the memory cells in your brain to start lighting up and saying, oh yeah, I remember that term. And then I am going to read you a very entertaining, ridiculous, childlike story that I wrote with all of these terms inside of them. So let's have a quick recap of the terms. We have a vicious cycle, to resonate, to go through, that's me all over, a godsend, to stand your ground, patronizing, to reach out, to peak, and to set foot in a place. Okay, so now here is the story with these terms. Okay, as I said, expect the ridiculous in these stories. I don't know where these ideas come from in my head. I did try to use AI technology, but I didn't like the stories, so I decided to write it myself. So expect rock and roll English style story. Okay, here we go. John was a very unhappy 17-year-old boy. He was unhappy as he couldn't find a girlfriend. He tried everything to get a girlfriend. He even reached out to a girlfriend expert, but nothing changed. One day, John went out with his friend Dave. They went to a nightclub to try and get lucky to find a girlfriend. John had received a message from a girl that he was interested in, and she said, "I'll see you in the club tonight." So John and Dave got ready and went out. When they arrived at the nightclub, there was a problem. John's card wasn't working and his payment to enter the nightclub didn't go through. So being the great friend he is, his friend Dave said, "Okay, see you later, John. I'm going to go in the nightclub." John was now outside the nightclub without his friend, extremely angry. So he said to the security staff, "I'll never set foot in this nightclub again." The security staff laughed at this and said, "Good, we don't want people like you in here anyway." John was then walking home alone and thought to himself, "I finally had a chance to get a girl, and I didn't get in the nightclub because my credit card wasn't working. That's me all over, always the unlucky one." He then went for a bit of a walk and saw an old bench. So he sat down, and then an old woman sat down next to him and started speaking to him. John said to her, "Sometimes I think I don't try hard enough to get a girlfriend, so I try harder, but it just seems that the harder I try to get a girlfriend, the less luck I have. It's just a vicious circle." The woman stopped and thought for a second about John's problem. As she was thinking, she noticed that John smelt very bad. So she said to him, "I don't want to talk to you like you're stupid. I don't want to be patronising. But do you wash yourself every day?" John thought about this for a minute, then said, "No, I don't. Do you think that's the problem?" The old woman responded, "Well, John, do you like girls that smell bad?" This really resonated with John, as he didn't like girls that smelt bad. So he decided in that moment that he would start to have a shower every day. So when he woke up the next day, he had a nice hot shower. "What are you doing, John?" his mother said to him. "What's the problem?" John asked. His mother said, "You can't have a hot shower every day. It costs too much money." But John stood his ground and said, "No, I don't care how much it costs. Women don't like smelly men, so I'm going to have a shower every day from now on." Almost immediately after this, John had a new girlfriend every week. He would often bring girls back to his house, but his mother told him he wasn't allowed to have girls in the bedroom with the door shut. The door needed to be a little bit open so that his mum could have a sneaky peek just to see that no funny business was going on. John was now extremely happy and thought to himself, "These showers are a godsend. Who knew that girls don't like smelly men?" And that's it. So you may have noticed that the terms from this week were all used in the story in different contexts. Now, don't think this is the end of your relationship with these terms. They will be constantly used over the next 51 weeks. Sure, not every week. I'm not going to include all 10 every week. They will be done in a scientific way, let's say. Spaced out repetition, it's called. So they will be used every now and again, and then they will stick in your head. This is how it works. So remember, this is day 5, so you will not have another podcast now until day 8, and the cycle will start again of 3 podcasts in 1 week. So day 8 will be week 2, episode 1, where the vocabulary will be presented in the podcast and video, and then 2 days later, there will be another podcast where the vocabulary is used in personal stories. And 2 days after that, there will be another ridiculous rock and roll story like today. Thanks a lot for listening. I will talk to you all very soon. But in the meantime, just keep on rocking, baby. Okay, so that's the end of the preview of the No Study British English Vocabulary Masterclass. Remember, this course is selling now for £197 and will continue to do so because it's a 52-week course, but only listening is required. It's just done in a very structured way, so the vocabulary is constantly repeated so that you remember it. But if you take my crazy Black Friday offer, you will get this course, my jungle listening course, and 500 family episodes for $147. So cheaper than this course actually costs to buy. So if you are interested in this course, you will be an absolute crazy person if you don't take advantage of this offer. Only 50 places available on this offer. So make sure you join the waiting list. Pause this podcast now and join that waiting list so you can buy it before it goes on general sale and before the 50 places sell out. Thanks a lot for listening, everyone. I will see you very soon. But in the meantime, just keep on rocking, baby.
Thanks so much for listening to Rock and Roll English. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit rockandrollenglish.com and facebook.com/rockandrollenglish. We'll catch you next time.